Hi guys, it's Arielle. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome back to Monday Chit Chats. And I have to say, I feel like the lighting is giving. I'm filming kind of at golden hour, I would say, which is not normal. I normally try to film these podcasts during the morning or the afternoon, but it has been so hot in Paris lately. Like 35, 36, 37 degrees in my apartment. And when I film, I have to shut all the windows and open all the blinds. So it's literally a greenhouse in here when I film. And it's just too hot to sit down and film like an hour-long podcast. So yeah, for the moment, I'm going to switch to filming these in the evening, which I was worried about because I was worried that there wouldn't be a lot of light. But yeah, I think this looks okay. And also, very quickly, I am so sorry. I sound terrible. I'm very sick. And who gets sick in the summer? Me. I'm not really sick. It's more my allergies that have kind of kicked in. And I used to be so hopeful when I would have these sort of allergic reactions or outbreaks that if I ate my ginger tea, if I got a lot of rest, if I didn't go to the gym and I just, slept a lot, then I would get better faster. But truly, like, no matter what I do, I am sick for at least 7 or 8 days. And there's like nothing to make me feel better that I could take or anything. And so yeah, I'm just pushing through. I'm on day 4. So yeah, this is the first day that I've been able to like get out of bed and be mobile. So hopefully within the next couple days it's finito. But yeah, okay, so I have so many topics. This is the problem when I skip a week of the podcast. I just end up with so many things to talk about. And I do want to talk a lot about the Olympics, but I want to start with an update to the friendship situation that I talked about last week because it actually has a good ending. And I thought it was interesting because there was quite a few comments of people being like, you are taking this too personal, or you can't expect other people to act the way that you want, which is very true and very fair. I do take things personally, which I'm trying to work on. And I also do have very high expectations for people, like especially my friends and family. But I also don't think that it is productive or helpful to any relationship, like friendship, a family relationship, or your partner, to not talk about things that have hurt you, not talk about the way you feel, and not even in a way where you're looking for justification. But I find like when something is bothering me, it helps to talk about it with, whoever I'm having this kind of crummy feeling with, because then we can work through it, we can find a solution, and we can both grow, we can both become better friends. And so the reason that I'm saying this is because that's what I did. Like, I didn't keep this to myself. Obviously, if you guys saw last podcast, it was something that really hurt me. Like, the fact that they didn't choose me to go to the opening ceremony, that they chose their, very recent partner instead of me, hurt my feelings, And so I did have a conversation with this friend, and honestly, it was really productive on both sides because they understood why I was hurt. And, I got to hear why they made the choices they did. And, I also had time to self-reflect because sometimes when things happen to me, I really feel them in the moment and I get so upset and so frustrated. But it does really help to pause, take a step back, take a couple days and really think about it, because this friend that this conflict happened with, they have genuinely been a very good friend to me and very supportive and everything. They're a very close friend to me. And so in the moment, sometimes I just get so upset, but it's terrible to disregard or discredit someone and years of friendship and of love and support for one thing that made you upset. I'm talking as someone who's really trying to, learn and grow from every experience that I have. And so anyways, I, talked to this person. I let them know that they hurt me. I was very genuinely very upset. And they explained their decision and it made so much sense. And one of the things that they said is they didn't feel like they could take me without taking Jean. And if they were going to take Jean and I plus their partner, then it was kind of like a double date and they didn't feel ready for that. And I was like, that makes so much sense. That is so fair. Like, no problem. But I was like, in the future, I would really appreciate it if you would say something like that to me. Like, hey, just so you know, I have these tickets and I'm bringing this friend and my partner. This is why, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. I just think that communication can go a long way. And another thing as well that happened with that same friend, this is why I'm talking about why I think it's so productive to communicate on things that, just communicate on things, is that this friend actually ended up getting other free tickets to events. And one of those events was a basketball game. And the first thing that this person did was literally call me. They got these tickets, and within 5 seconds, they were calling me and inviting me to go with them. And so you can see that they realized that I felt bad about not being chosen. And so they wanted to show me that, I mattered to them by choosing me. So anyways, all that to say that I really do think that, communication is so important, and that I don't think it's productive to keep things bottled in when they affect you, or to, it is important to let things go. I saw a lot of comments like that, like, let it go. Of course, I am not good at that. I know I'm not good at that. But the thing is, when it comes to friendship and relationships and family, like, I am genuinely someone who gives everything to people that I love. And so that's just the way that I want my relationships in life to be like, which is why I guess I hold my people that I have relationships with to a higher standard, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, So yeah, anyways, I'm gonna stop ranting on that. It's like, I'm sick in my voice. I'm also like cloudy in my head. So hopefully I don't, go on too many tangents, but I do just want to share that, all is well that ends well. We communicated, we resolved it, and honestly, like, I see my fault in things. I see where I take things way too personally. I know that about myself. I know it's something that I have to work on, and I'm just so happy that we were able to resolve this, because this person means so much to me, and this person, I can tell you right now, is going to be my friend for life, and I would never want to lose that. So yeah, that's my little update. Now, let's get into some topics about the Olympics, because so much has happened in the past 2 weeks, and it's so sad. Today's actually the end of the Olympics. It's the last day. It actually might even be the closing ceremony today, which I wanted to watch on TV, so hopefully I haven't, missed that or anything. But, yeah, when it comes to the Olympics, I do just want to say, before I get into all my topics, is that it's actually been really hard, because the Olympics have everything that I've been able to experience, for the most part, has been really fun. And I didn't feel this way before they started, but I feel this way now, is that I'm so lucky to live somewhere where the Olympics are taking place. I feel like I took that for granted, and, over the past 2 weeks, I've realized what an amazing event this is, how it brings people together, how fun it is, and to be able to, to live in the city where it's happening and not have to pay the cost of travel and accommodation and everything, I think is, I'm just so fortunate. And, on the flip side of that is, because I didn't go to the Olympics as a vacation, I didn't travel to the Olympics or anything, I didn't take time off of work to, do the Olympics, I do feel so much, maybe not regret, because I couldn't have taken vacation anyways, but a little bit of FOMO. There were so many events that, were going on, so many activities, so many moments of celebration that I didn't get to experience because I just didn't have the time to do everything. Something so basic that I wanted to do was I wanted to go to Trocadero for, like, every night of the Olympics. They have the medalists who go to this Trocadero stage. There's 13,000 seats, and you can go there for free, and you can, celebrate with all of the athletes that won medals. Sorry, French athletes that won medals. And yeah, it's free to go, but the problem is because there's only 13,000 seats, you have to line up like at noon, and wait in line all day. And that's just not something that I can do if I'm working during the day and just want to go to this event at night, but it's something I wish I had done. There was also a Samsung chase for Olympic pins that I wish I'd done. What else? I didn't get to see the hot air balloon rise. You guys would have seen in my vlog that we went to go and try and see it, but because of the winds, it didn't end up flying. So I didn't get to see that. There were so many Olympic houses, like hospitality houses, that I wanted to visit as well. I really wanted to go to the Korea house, the India house, the Mongolia house. Oh my gosh, there were so many that I wanted to see, but tickets sold out, first of all. And again, if you go in the evenings, there's just like lines and lines, and yeah, you really have to take advantage of everything about the Olympics during the day because it's just too busy in the evening. So yeah, I do have a little bit of FOMO, but yeah, let's get into my more specific topics. They did the triathlon in the Seine, which I thought was a decision. I was honestly surprised because the day before the triathlon, we had this huge rainstorm, and typically rain brings dirt and bacteria and stuff to, water. So I didn't think that the water would test clean enough for athletes to go in, but apparently it did. And there was 2 athletes that fell really ill afterwards from, I think it was Belgium and Switzerland. And the Belgian athlete actually was so sick that they had to pull out of the other competitions. I think there was a relay that they were part of, and the whole relay team had to pull out because they were so sick. And all of the news sources were reporting that there's no legitimate way to tell if, swimming in the Seine is what caused this illness, but that's kind of what it looks like. So yeah, that was unfortunate. Oh my gosh, another fun story is on the news in France. They were talking about this athlete who was doing the 20-kilometer speed walk event. And the night before his event, his wife gave birth. So he was telling this story of how he went to the hospital. His wife gave birth at like 2 a.m. He immediately got in a taxi and drove to his Olympic event and then competed in this 20-kilometer race, and he ended up finishing 9th, I believe, which is quite impressive for someone who, experienced such a roller coaster of emotions and who got no sleep the night before. So I thought that was really interesting. Another thing as well that was all over French news is they were talking about how in the US they count medals differently than the vast majority of countries. I think actually the US is the only country that counts, ranks results for the Olympics. In the US, they rank based on total amount of medals won, whereas I think every other country ranks based on how many gold medals you win. And I thought that was interesting that the US is the only country to rank it that way. But I do think it's probably better to rank on gold medals because ranking the amount of medals you win is kind of like, it's definitely influenced by how many people you have participating in the Olympics, and the US has, oh my gosh, an insane amount of people participating. Like the boat for the America team, for Team USA, that was going down the Seine during the opening ceremony, it was packed. Like they had the boat all to themselves. People were like spilling over. There's so many athletes. So I don't think it's surprising that the US wins so many medals, but it is a little bit unfair to rank based on that when not all other countries, have as many athletes that are in the games. I don't know which country is top at the moment. I'm not paying a lot of attention to that. I think as well, I don't watch a lot of the Olympic Games because, again, I have FOMO. I kind of wish that I was more actively participating in Olympic stuff. What else? Oh my gosh. Okay, so we went to Canada House last week. You guys would have seen that in the vlog. And I don't want to be disappointed, but I was a little bit disappointed. I was so excited initially to go to the Canada House because I genuinely never meet other Canadians. Like, it is so rare. I can't even remember the last Canadian that I met in France. It must have been when I was on exchange, which was years ago. And, you know, there is something that feels comforting about being around people who are from the same place as you, who come from the same culture, who speak the same language and all that. So I was really looking forward to going to Canada House and, like, I don't know, hopefully talking to other people, meeting other Canadians and stuff. And there wasn't a lot of people at the Canada House, which was not surprising because the ticket price was one of the most expensive. It was 30 euros to go, which is crazy when you think about two things. Number one, what other houses cost. Korea House, for example, was free. India House was 5 euros. And I think most of the other houses were 5 euros. So to price your house 6 times more expensive than everything else, like, I'm not surprised that there was a lot less people. And that's also another reason why I was kind of disappointed, is that for 30 euros, you kind of expect something to come with the ticket, like a snack or a drink or an activity or a gift, just because it really is so much more expensive than so many of the other houses. And in general, most events that you buy a ticket for in Paris come with something like a complimentary cocktail or snack. But yeah, there was nothing like that. And there also wasn't a lot of activities or things to do. I was a little bit disappointed that the Lululemon store was like the biggest thing in Canada House. You know, you paid money to go pay more money to buy more things. I wish that they had, you know, more cultural activities or, yeah, I don't know, just something that came with the ticket. And I also feel like other houses really had this idea of using their hospitality house to share culture, and I really didn't feel like it was the case for the Canada House. There was, you know, Muskoka chairs, you could buy poutine, but outside of that there weren't really any like cultural activities, so it was a little bit disappointing. But yeah, we did have a good time. We spent probably 5 hours there. We watched the basketball game, we played there was like, I think it's called hacky sack, or I don't know, where you toss the sacks of beans into like holes that are 5 meters away. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called hacky sack. And we had some beers. We had Molson Canadian, which again, you never have that in Paris, so that was nice. We had a poutine. And I met a couple of people who were traveling. I didn't really meet anyone my age, which was a little bit disappointing, but I met a couple of au pairs who were so young. They were like 17, 18 years old, and they were taking a gap year. They spent the year doing, you know, like being an au pair, and they were traveling back home to Canada after the Olympics and stuff. So that was nice to talk to them and just, yeah, honestly, just talk to someone who's from the same culture as you. But that was a little bit disappointing. And then on the other hand, I went to the France house. It's called Club France, and the tickets were only 5 euros. So great, very affordable. And there was so much to do. Oh my gosh, there were food trucks, there was food stands, there were stages and performances, and there was an indoor portion which I didn't even get to see because it was so crowded, and athletes would come at the end of the day, like in the evening, and show their medals and have fun with the crowds of people that came out to watch. But because the tickets were only 5 euros, and because we are in France, it was jam-packed. And not just that, but we went on a day where it was pouring rain, and we really didn't expect to wait in line because you had to buy a ticket beforehand. So we're thinking, okay, you already bought your ticket, you don't have to wait in line to buy a ticket. They aren't overselling tickets, but they absolutely did oversell tickets. And so it was pouring rain. We did not have an umbrella, and we waited in this line for 2 hours. And so by the time we got to the front of the line, finally, it was 10:15 p.m. or 10 p.m., sorry. And they closed the outdoor area at 10:15. And because it was raining and there's so many people, they had already reached the maximum capacity for inside, like the indoor portion of Club France. And so if you weren't inside, you were going to get kicked out at 10:15 p.m. So yeah, we did all that. We waited in line for a 15-minute experience at Club France, which again is something that I have FOMO of because I wish that I had got to experience like everything that there was in Club France. And it was so popular actually that they completely sold out of tickets. As of like a week before the Olympics were over, they sold out of tickets, and if you didn't have tickets, you couldn't go. So we couldn't even go again and see. So that was a little bit disappointing. And then the USA house. Have you guys seen this? Has this come across the news or TikTok or something? But the tickets to go to the USA house was 325 euros. It was by far the most expensive house, and I was reading about why it was like this, and the news article was saying how the US wanted their hospitality house really to just be for athletes and athletes' families, and so they really wanted to limit public access. But I just thought that was so unfortunate because you see all of these other houses that are really focused on sharing their culture with the world, and it was interesting that the US didn't have that same approach. I also think it's crazy to charge 325 euros because again, most of these houses, I think the USA house is similar to the Canada house where there's not many activities, but there is like a store where you can buy Ralph Lauren US Olympics merch and you can have lunch and pay for food and drinks. But yeah, I just think that 325 euros is wild. I guess if you get to meet athletes, maybe it's worth it. But yeah, that was a little bit disappointing too because I really wanted to go. But it was just too expensive. Oh my gosh. And another thing I have in my notes is during the basketball game. So we went to watch Canada versus, I don't know, I forget. But we went to watch a basketball game. And it was so weird the way that the Canadian channels have their ad breaks because in France, you do not have an ad break during sports games until halftime. So even if there's a timeout, you are listening to what the coaches are saying and you're getting commentary as well. And so yeah, you never really have like an ad break until halftime. And so Jean and I were watching and we were shocked that not only was there ad breaks during the timeouts, but there was also ad breaks during the game where this TV channel, I wish I could remember which one it was, but they would split the screen and they would have half of the screen be the game and the other half be an ad. And I was like, what is this? And something else that shocked me is that, you know what the most reoccurring ad was during this basketball game? An ad for Ozempic. Like the weight loss drug. I mean, I also think it's a medical drug for... I don't even know what it is. All I know is what I've seen on TikTok, which is that celebrities use it as a weight loss drug, but it has never, ever been promoted in France. I think all French people don't know what Ozempic is because it's not at all, like, it's not, taking Ozempic isn't popularized in France, I think, in the same way that it is in North America. And so to see a pharmaceutical, have an ad run during an Olympic game where you have like children watching as well and target Ozempic, like spin the ad around taking it to lose weight, I thought was crazy. And maybe this is just a culture shock because I've been so used to consuming French media and European media, and you really don't see pharmaceutical commercials like that. I'm pretty sure that there's like very serious regulations. It really shocked me to see that type of Ozempic ad like being shown in a place where there were so many children. That's crazy that I was shocked by that because I really do think that's pretty normal in like on Canadian channels and stuff. Sorry, I'm self-conscious. I can see myself talking with my hands, and I know I get so many comments that people don't like that. I'm sorry, you guys. It's just who I am. Okay, my last topic for the Olympics is that it's so strange because Paris feels empty, but there are times when it feels completely overpopulated. So just in general during the Olympics, I think this surprised everyone, but there's no one. There's no one in the grocery stores. There's no one on the metro. There's no one in the streets. Like, it is so calm. And this is pretty typical for August. Like, usually in Paris during August, the entire city shuts down. But we weren't expecting this with the Olympics. But no, truly, it feels empty. It is so empty, except when you go and try and participate in anything Olympics related. Like I was saying, the France Club Zone, the Trocadero evening event, even when we went to go see the hot air balloon with the Olympic flame rise, when we tried to go and see it, there were hundreds of thousands of people gathered, like in the gardens, down the streets. We had to walk 20 minutes before we stopped seeing crowds. We didn't even bother taking the metro home. We're like, no way, we're just gonna walk. Even if it takes an hour and a half, we're gonna walk, because there was just hundreds of thousands of people. So it's so weird that at moments you have these concentrations of huge amounts of people, but just general day-to-day life feels so empty, so lonely. And this also is something that's really hard in August, is that if you're in Paris during August, it's tough because a lot of restaurants close, a lot of stores close. My gym is closed, like my boxing coach is on vacation, so we don't have classes anymore. So your social life really takes a nosedive, which I guess is good. It's like the only time that you can relax, like really relax. So yeah, there we go. That's my take on the Olympics so far. Let me know what you guys think. If you have been watching the Olympics, if you have seen stuff on TikTok or Instagram, what your thoughts are, if I missed any huge topics. Yeah, I'm excited. If the closing ceremony is tonight, I actually can't wait to watch it because it's rumored. There are some performers that are rumored to be there. And I'm curious to see who they choose to perform at the closing ceremony. Okay, on to more general topics. I went through a complete manic episode cleaning my apartment yesterday. I really felt so sick, and in my head, I was like, okay, I'm sick because the apartment's not clean. And so I did everything from washing the sheets, vacuuming, washing the floors, reorganizing everything. Like, I truly cleaned for 8 or 9 hours yesterday. And I also completely reorganized and cleaned our bedroom, which was definitely needed because I had to film sort of the final part of our apartment transformation, which is hopefully going to come out soon. I finished filming everything, but I have to edit it all, which is going to be a lot because it's 4 months worth of footage. So that should be out on my main channel. I want to give myself 2 weeks probably. So you have that to look forward to if you guys are curious. But yeah, in the bedroom specifically, I went to an office supply store. I bought 2 sets of file folders. I bought 4 organizer books. And I went through every single piece of paper that I had, any type of office or administrative correspondence that I had, and I organized everything from like A to Z. I have it all super nicely organized, very clean, very aesthetic. I'll put a picture on screen actually so you guys can see what our room looks like. Hopefully I have like a before and after picture as well, because I think that would be crazy. We also hung the puzzle that we finally finished. If you guys were watching my Instagram stories at all, there was like this whole saga of Jean and I finishing this 1,000-piece puzzle of a little breakfast, a French breakfast scene that we wanted to glue and hang in our bedroom, which we finally finished. But yeah, so that felt really good. I am over the moon that everything is clean, but also I set the room up in a way where we can finally move on to the next step of our transformation, which is painting. Like, I took out the one shelf that we'd installed. I replastered, I filled in the holes. Just completely cleaned everything. So I'm really excited to paint. I mean, honestly, that's kind of the last part. That and our bathroom, that's like that's it for apartment transformation, you know? And then I feel like I can finally relax and enjoy the home that we've made for ourselves. Okay, completely unrelated. I have to tell you guys about the new pair of shoes that I bought because I probably mentioned this 10 podcasts ago, but on my last trip home to Canada, my best friend and I discovered that we A, had bunions, and B, were wearing shoes that were 2 sizes too small. And for me, I ended up wearing shoes that were so small because my feet are so big. My feet are a size 12, and most women's shoe stores do not make higher than a 10. So when I was growing up and I wanted to wear the trendy, cool shoes and spend the money that I earned, I would go to Aldo or the Bay or Winners, you know? And really the most shoe brands stop at size 10. And so for me, it was just like, well, there's nothing bigger, so I guess I'm a size 10. And that's how I ended up for years squishing my feet into very tiny shoes, and that over time made my toes crunch up. Like if you ever see my toes in person, they're like scrunched. And I also kind of have like a bunion. And so I've been on this crusade to find bigger, wider shoes that also look feminine. And it's been tough. One of the shoes that I miss the most is Converse, because I love the way platform Converse look. I think they look so, I don't know, so cool. I feel like they elevate any outfit that you have. You could wear them with jeans and dress pants. I love them. But Converse are so thin. They are so thin in the foot. And they're also kind of pricey. The platform Converse are probably like 115 euros. So it was a lot for me to consider replacing my Converse, especially when they are really thin and definitely hurt my feet. But during the summer sales, I was perusing. Actually, that's not how it started. I was influenced. I was on Instagram and I saw this girl that I know post a travel picture, and she was wearing platform Vans high tops. And I was like, those look so chic. I never even considered Vans as a shoe brand. So I went on their website, and it was during the summer sales. So I was able to get the cutest platform shoes in purple and in green for more than 50% off. They were 110 or 115 full price, and I was able to scoop them for 50, which was so great. I got both pairs, so they're both 50 euros. And I just want to say, because the last time I posted about shoes, I saw a couple comments being like, yes, I love the shoe recommendations. I also have big feet. So here's another one for you. The Vans platform high tops are 1,000% better than Converse, and they're just as cute, but they're better because they're wider. Like your feet are not squished in them, I guess because they're skateboarding, like they're a skateboarding shoe brand. So they are the most comfortable. I love the purple. I think it looks so cute. Yeah, I don't have them with me, but I'll maybe put a picture of what I look like wearing them and what they look like and stuff. So yeah, just another shoe brand for anyone else who struggles with big, wide feet. Okay, other very exciting news is I booked my flights to Greece. I'm not gonna cry. But I'm so excited. Greece, and specifically Katorio and George and Zilke and the farmers and the olive groves, they bring me such profound happiness. And I've thought a lot about why they make me so happy. I think it's 2 reasons. Number one, I love feeling connected to nature. And when you spend a prolonged amount of time in a village like Katorio, when you're surrounded by nature and it's so peaceful, it's, for someone like me who really thrives in that kind of environment, it just makes you feel so happy. And then the other reason why I think I just feel so connected to Greece is because I feel like the people that I've met there, and maybe Greek people in general, I feel like they're so similar to what I know in Canada, and also similar to my own personality. I mean, like George specifically, I swear George and I are the same person, just born 30 years apart. But like people are so welcoming in Greece. They're so friendly. They're so kind and understanding and patient. Whereas in a city like Paris, you guys know that I really do struggle a lot with everything from customer service to, you know, getting run over by someone on a bike to people just going about their own day to day and not really caring about anyone else. And it's just such a huge contrast, I feel. And so to be surrounded by people who are so happy and kind and open to sharing their culture with you is like just such an amazing feeling. And so yeah, I'm so thrilled that I finally booked those tickets. I am gonna go back in November. I'm gonna document the harvest again, which is gonna be fun. Hopefully you guys are excited to come with me, because I am gonna have to do the podcast and any vlogs I film. Like, I'm gonna have to film those in Greece. So I hope you guys are excited to come on that adventure with me. And I'm going without Jean as well, so it'll be another month of long distance. But this time I will be back for Jean's birthday. Jean's birthday is in November, and last time I missed it. So I will not be doing that this year, but I will be gone for quite some time. I don't know, I'm honestly so excited. I can't wait. And yeah, let me know if you guys are at all interested in that, or if you have anything that you want me to film, if you saw any of my Greece videos last year, if there's anything that interests you. I do have one thing that I'm going to film in particular, like outside of the documentary, that I'm really excited to share with you guys. I don't want to spoil it, I don't want to talk about it, but it's one video that I am really excited to share. But yeah. Okay, and then the last topic, which kind of flows off of the topic of Greece, is that I am in full-blown language learning. As you guys know, I am doing Italian lessons. I'm doing that with Lingota, but I'm also trying to learn Greek as well, and they don't have Greek offered on Lingota, so I'm only doing Greek on Duolingo. And it's tough, you know, speaking French and English on the daily, learning Italian and Greek at night, but I really think it's important. Like, Italian obviously is very important to me that I learn it before I potentially move there. It's also where my family's from, so I feel connected to the language and connected to Italy in a way that you would if it's, you know, like your culture. And Greece, because I'm going back, because I'm going to see the same people, I am really, really trying to do better about communicating in their language. I think in general, when you move somewhere, when you travel somewhere, I think it's very respectful and considerate to learn the language and, you know, show that you're participating in the culture. I met a couple of people on my last trip to Greece, like when I spent the month in Katorio, who were adamant that they refused to learn Greek. Like, they had moved there to retire in Greece, but they refused to learn Greek because for them, they thought everyone could just talk to them in English. English is the universal language, and they didn't want to hear anything about learning Greek. And then I talked to a couple of Greeks who, on the other hand, you know, were very welcoming to all of the people in particular that go and retire in Greece, but who felt like in some of the smaller towns, when you have such a huge inflow of foreign residents who speak English, you no longer feel like you're welcome in your own town because everybody speaks English. So yeah, it's just something that I'm very mindful of, and I do want to go back to Greece with like a good base knowledge of Greek. But what I also want to talk about is that learning Italian has been so much harder than I ever thought it would be. Not necessarily harder, actually, but just a lot more work than I was prepared for. Because what I'm finding is that, first of all, as you guys know, I went into these Italian lessons with zero knowledge of Italian. I could say ciao. I remembered mi chiamo, which is my name is, from a presentation I did in grade 3, and very basic words like zia, aunt, and nonna, my grandma, because like those are the only Italian words that I've used. Like, I call my zia zia, my zio zio, my uncle, and my nonna, my grandma, nonna. But yeah, everyone else who I've met in the Lingota courses, or the majority, I want to say 90%, do have prior knowledge and have taken other Italian classes before starting the Lingota Sprint. And so my first 2 classes were kind of shocking because I hadn't really prepared a lot going into it. I kind of just assumed that I would do most of the learning in class. But I really felt like compared to the other students, I had a significantly lower level. And I felt a little bit self-conscious about holding the class up and stuff because Lingota is very good about having you speak and engage in Italian during the lesson. Like, these are not lessons where you're just passively listening to someone lecture you. You are actively participating. Like, you are called on consistently. And so if you have no idea what you're doing or what you're talking about, it can feel embarrassing or awkward. And so after those first 2 lessons, I was like, no way. I need to level up my game. I need to step it up because I also don't have anyone to practice with. Like, I could practice with my dad and my aunts and my uncles, but I don't see them on the daily, and like, it's really hard, I think, to talk to someone like on Zoom and try and practice your Italian. I could watch movies, but I can't talk to Jean in Italian. I don't have any Italian friends. So yeah, I don't have anyone to practice with, and I had no prior knowledge, which I think really put me at a disadvantage compared to the other students. And so what I did to compensate for that is I went to the office supply store. I printed out every single lesson, and before each class, I spend about 2 hours going over the entire lesson plan, learning all of the vocabulary that Lingota suggests, and completing all of the activities before I even get to the class so that I know what I'm doing and I'm not holding the class up. And I really feel like I'm learning better that way because I am able to understand more in class, because in class they speak in Italian. Like, the teachers speak in Italian, and so it helps me if I've already translated any of the words that I don't understand from the lesson plan. Like, it helps with the comprehension when the teachers are speaking in Italian. And it also means that if I stumble on any exercise or I don't get the right answer, then I can ask the question and ask specifically what I need the answer to, which I think is more helpful. And then on the days, because I have a class every other day, on the days where I don't have the class the next day, I still spend 20 minutes doing Duolingo exercises in Italian and in Greek. And I also spend about an hour reviewing all of my notes. And so on a daily basis, I am typically spending between 2 to 3 hours, like every single day, learning Italian, which is a lot if you have a full-time job, if you go to the gym, if you have friends, if you have sports teams that you're committed to. Like, it's been a lot. Most nights I'm going to bed at 1 or 2 in the morning after I get all my practice in. And I was talking to Sean, I was like, what happens when the sprint is over? Like, can you imagine all the time I'm gonna have? All the rest I'm gonna have? So yeah, it's been a lot harder and more time consuming than I thought it would be. But I'm learning a lot. I'm definitely progressing. And who knows, maybe next podcast I'll hit you guys with a buongiorno, mi chiamo Arielle. But yeah, I think that is all for today's podcast. I didn't ask for questions because I knew that I was feeling very ill and I didn't want to talk for longer than I had to with all my topics and everything. But I will ask for questions next week, so keep an eye out on my Instagram. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a really good week. I'm sorry that I sounded so nasally. Hopefully next podcast will be better. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.